Today we're going to be looking at a problem that involves proportional reasoning. And we're going to be solving this problem using ratios, rates, and a table of values. The question we are looking at says that two stores are advertising specials on oranges. Store A sells 8 oranges for $4.24. At Store B, you can get 12 oranges for $5.52. Oranges are sold individually. The question asks us, how much less would 30 oranges cost at Store B than at Store A? And we'll need to justify our answer. So let's see what information we're given. Well, we're told how much it costs for 8 oranges and how much it costs for 12 oranges, but are we told how much it costs for 30 oranges? Do you think we can figure that out? Which store do you think sells the oranges for a cheaper price? Well, let's look at the question again. It says how much less would the oranges be at Store B? So the question already tells us that Store B is actually cheaper, but we need to prove that. We're going to solve this using a table of values. So first we need to figure out what is the relationship here. Is there a relationship between oranges and cost? Do you think that the number of oranges is directly related to the cost of the oranges? If it is directly proportional, then what do you know about the starting cost? If you were to buy no oranges, do you think you have to pay any money? No, it would be $0 for 0 oranges. And it costs $4.24 for 8 oranges. As the number of oranges increases, what happens to the cost? It also increases. Do you think Store B is also a direct relationship? Sure, if you don't get any oranges, you're not going to spend any money. Let's use this relationship to build our table of values. We're going to put number of oranges in the left column of the table because it's our independent variable. And we're going to put cost in the right column because it's a dependent variable. The cost depends on the number of oranges we buy. The more we buy, the more we're going to spend. So let's write down some information we already know. We know that 0 oranges costs no money for both stores. For Store A, we know that if we buy 8 oranges, we're going to spend $4.24, and at Store B, 12 oranges cost $5.52. Well, we need to come up with other values in our table. What if I were to double the number 8? What's 8 plus 8? 16. Well, if I double the number 8, I'm going to double the cost. If I buy 8 more oranges, I'm going to spend another $4.24. So let's add those together. $4.24 plus $4.24 equals $8.48. What if I want to buy another 8 oranges? I'm going to add another 8 to 16. We get 24. So let's add another $4.24. We get $12.72. Let's try this one more time. Let's add another 8. We get 32, and we know 8 oranges cost $4.24. So we're going to spend $16.96. Let's do the same thing with Store B. I'm going to double the number 12. 12 plus 12 is 24. And if I'm buying another 12, I'm spending another $5.52. So I get $11.04. Let's do this one more time. Add another 12. I get 36. And I'm adding another $5.52 to get $16.56. But do these numbers help us answer the question? Right now I have 32 oranges from Store A and 36 oranges from Store B. But what did the question ask us to compare? That's right, they wanted to compare 30 oranges. Well, what information can we gather from this table? We know that for an increase in 8 oranges, we're spending $4.24. Can you figure out the rate at which this is changing? For every $4.24, we get 8 oranges. So what's the unit rate? Well, let's divide these two numbers together. $4.24 divided by 8 equals 0.53. So we're spending 53 cents per orange. What about from store B? For every 12 oranges, we spend $5.52. Every time we add 12 oranges, we add $5.52. Well, let's figure out the rate at which this is changing. 552 divided by 12 gives us 0.46, so store B is 46 cents per orange. Which store is cheaper? Right, store B is cheaper. And the question said, how much less will the oranges cost at store B? So we already knew that it was going to be cheaper. Well, we need to figure out how much it costs for 30 oranges from each store. So how can we use this information in our table of values? Let's create a new table of values. We'll start with 8. We know that 8 oranges cost $4.24 because that was the information the question gave us. We could skip count by 2s because we know that 2 is a factor of 30. So if we count by 2s, we'll eventually get up to 30. So let's do that. Well, we know how much it costs for 8 oranges, and we figured out how much it costs for 1 orange. If we're increasing the number of oranges by 2, can you figure out how much it costs for 2 oranges? Well, if 1 orange was 53 cents, how much would it be for 2 oranges? 53 cents plus 53 cents is $1.06. So we're going to add $1.06 every time until we get to 30. Because we're counting by 2s. For every 2 oranges, we need to add $1.06. There, we've gone all the way up to 30. Now I know the price for 30 oranges from store A. 30 oranges is going to cost me $15.90. Well, let's figure out how much 30 oranges cost from store B. So let's start at 12, since that was the information that the question gave us. 12 oranges was $5.52. Should we skip count by 2s again? Sure, 2 is a factor of 30, and we know that we need to compare the oranges when there are 30 of them. So let's count by 2s. Well, since we're counting by 2s, we need to figure out how much does it cost for 2 oranges from store B. Well, 1 orange was 46 cents, so if we add 46 plus 46, what do we get? We get 92 cents. So we're going to add 92 cents every time we skip by 2 oranges because 2 oranges will cost us 92 cents. So let's do that. And there we go. We've completed the table up to 30 oranges. Well, 30 oranges from store B cost $13.80. Which store is cheaper? Still store B. It's $13.80 for 30 oranges from store B and $15.90 for 30 oranges from store A. Well, what was the question asking us to find? Have we finished this question yet? The question said, how much less would 30 oranges cost at store B than at store A? Well, we know that 30 oranges at store A would cost $15.90, and at store B, 30 oranges would cost $13.80. Well, how do we figure out how much less these oranges cost? We're going to subtract. $15.90 take away $13.80. And when we subtract these two numbers together, we get $2.10. That's how much we're saving if we buy the oranges at store B. Therefore, we can conclude that 30 oranges cost $2.10 less at store B. And we've now answered the question and justified our answer. Now remember, there's more than one way to solve this problem, so check out the playlist to find different methods of solving this problem. Can you think of other ways you could have solved this without using a table of values?